Let's bring it home. Let's talk about the third part. If this is a three-legged stool, the public transportation we need in Saint Croix, it is time for part three, which is Kari or Kari. I'm not sure how to say it, and neither are you. I was on their website and I was hoping I'd find a video or something where they say that their own name. Kari. This is the Rideshare app. I'm just showing you my blank phone, so that's not helpful. Neither is a white screen. The Rideshare app that we now have in St. Stephen, which works if you're familiar like Uber or like Lyft. Now, I say this is part three, and we're bringing it home because we have talked about the bus pilot project called Rural Links that ran for 20 months before it ran out of its $500,000 and was deemed unsustainable. Was it a failure? Well, it didn't fail the 1,000 users who used it 3,200 plus times. But then the Dillon report came out after that, Dillon Consulting, and created a very comprehensive plan for how we might have what is essential transportation for those of us who do not have access to cars. And so we've spent the last few days talking about number one, which is Charlotte Dialer Ride, an absolutely crucial service in our community. The latest data says that 2,000 rides were for employment in 2022, and in 2023, 4,000 rides were used for employment. So folks are using this to get to work. There are limitations around it in terms of you need to demonstrate need, that you are in the low income bracket. You can only take it for medical appointments. Otherwise, rides to St. John are very few and far between. You need to book 48 hours in advance. There are no evenings, weekends, that kind of thing. Enter the second option in our riding, which is Project Village, as we covered yesterday, which is a car share program. So there are 4 vehicles parked in various places around the riding, and if you're a driver, you can book the car and take that. I've already looked into it. It's a member. You can sign up as a member, a non-member. It's definitely lower hourly rate when you are a member. Wonderful service to just get around quickly. I'm a one-car family, as we've said before, and at times we will need access to a vehicle, and we would use something like that. Now, that, of course, is for people who can drive. You need to, in order to become a member, you upload your driver's license and things like that. Rideshare is for people who don't drive. This is really, really important, and I'm going to say we absolutely need this in our riding. Future St. Stephen is responsible for having brought this in. Kari is, I can't help myself. Kari is a PEI based company. And so they have expanded into New Brunswick, now 2 provinces, PEI and New Brunswick, started in Fredericton. And now they have actually gone where no ride share has gone before, a rural area. Again, half of New Brunswick is rural, so this shouldn't scare us, but we're thankful that Kari is giving it a shot. They have expanded into St. Stephen, thanks to Future St. Stephen inviting them here for a 6-month pilot project. Yes, I said it again, pilot project. There are so many of these pilot projects which are in a precarious state. We don't know if they can stay, if they can go when the pilot project is over. We assess whether they are sustainable. Again, the Rural Links bus service was deemed unsustainable. Project Village, we all wonder if it can keep going. Kari, what's going to happen? It started in May. At the end of October, there will be an assessment of whether they can stay here. They have expanded into St. Andrews. We know that $18,000 was necessary to start it up. I was talking to Jeremy, the president of Future St. Stephen, who was responsible for bringing that here. It really is the insurance issue, $3,000 a month, which perhaps is a whole separate issue. Maybe we need to talk about starting to provincialize insurance as well, like some other provinces out west. The insurance is extremely expensive as a startup cost. For Kari in expanding into new areas. So they secured that funding with the help of St. Stephen, expanded into St. Andrews. I know I was at the town council meeting last week where $18,000 was budgeted from the town budget to help it with this project, to see if it can launch, get off the ground. They are particularly interested in how it will benefit tourists. But again, We are wondering at the end of these pilot projects whether this can continue. And Consulting has said in their report that it will take entrepreneurship, it will take that social enterprise aspect to keep public transit going, and it will take a commitment from the levels of government to keep public transit going. I said it yesterday, and I think I should say it every single day in case you missed it the first time or need to hear it again. There is no business model for public transit. Public transit is never a money making enterprise. So if you think, oh, the free market can take care of this, you need to just think again, especially in a low density riding. I've lived in Ottawa, I've lived in Toronto, I've lived in Korea. In all of these areas, the government makes a commitment to the common good, to a social good, to have transportation so people can get to, and I demonstrated this with the Project Village statistics when they released their report, so people can get to school, can get to work, and things like that. It is really important that people can get around to better themselves, to get the resources they need in terms of employment and education and things like that. So you can become a Kari driver. We need to see this build out. We need to see more drivers so that, of course, when somebody signs up for the ride share, as I have done, I just checked today. If I wanted to go to the Milltown pool from where I live around Tim Hortons in St. Stephen, it would cost $9 or so. So if I didn't have a car, wanted to take the kids to the swimming pool there for public swim or something, $9 one way, and then of course I could order the car up and bring it back. It is extremely flexible in that way, where I am not in the low income bracket, and I have access to a vehicle, but I also don't want to maybe 48 hours in advance reserve for Charlotte Dial-A-Ride, which I wouldn't have access to anyway. Or, of course, if I wanted to use Project Village, that first and last mile conundrum, as we said, the challenge of getting to the car and then getting home. I know there is one parked at the Civic Center, but of course I would walk there and then pay for the time that the car is sitting at the pool. So what we have here is a full constellation, a complement of options. We would like to see them perhaps even more affordable than they are, which would require commitments from the government, and we would like to see them sustained. Right now, everything's in kind of pilot project limbo, and we want to see a commitment from the government. As we said, the Green Party is committed to seeing public transit as a social service. We shouldn't just have the wealthy able to get around, and having a car, as I mentioned yesterday, about 13% of people's income are taken up by a vehicle. It is an expensive proposition, and it is not something that everyone can sustain. So we need to have that available in our community. That's my more than 5 minutes. And again, that wraps up the options of public transit. Tomorrow, I want to sum up again the importance of the five things in general. If you've lost the plot a little bit, this was the fourth aspect of public safety for our riding. We want to see transportation as that piece where people can not only get to where they need to go, but can get there safely. And there is a feeling of, hey, my community is safe if I can get where I need to go somewhere other than on foot. Okay, so join me tomorrow. We'll continue to move forward with, like I say, that sums up the five things, but there's all kinds of good things coming your way in terms of things I'm learning and things you need to know to make an informed choice in October when you cast your vote, and also things that I want to make sure I do for you when I am in that position of MLA come the